today's data clearly shows that both unemployment and employment is internationally competitive in the United Kingdom. We're pleased with the results, but I think it's important to point out that the UK has quite a tight labour market. We have high employment and high vacancies, and while the vacancies have come down slightly, it's really important that we as a government put in place measures to ensure that we get more people back into the workforce. In the budget in March, the Chancellor announced really new and significant reforms to our childcare provision. And we have recently announced another 3.5 billion on the back of the budget to help people with health conditions get back into work as well. And just this weekend, we announced another 2 billion as part of that to really tackle health conditions, which have been a long-standing issue for many years in this country.
So that's tackling women and tackling those who were left out of work because of health conditions. What about immigration? Is it time to loosen some of the immigration conditions?
We have one of the most competitive visa regimes in the world. You know, this week is Tech Week. We have a number of different visas for really inspiring individuals and talented academics to come into the United Kingdom. I think we've got the right balance when it comes to immigration in this country. The main thing for us is ensuring that we ensure that everybody who is in this country already can work and be participant in our workforce, whether that's parents, those with healthcare conditions, or indeed the disabled people.
You mentioned tech and the work that the Sunak administration is doing to try to bring tech talent into the country, whether it be at a company level or at an employee level. But is that where the gap is in labor shortages? Is that targeting the right group of people? I
think overall we've got a quite well-established tight labour market, and what we've done in terms of immigration reform is ensure that we're bringing in those individuals who can contribute to our economy and fill the gaps that we have in terms of the workforce. One of the key focuses of this government is obviously growing our economy, focusing on the 5 key industries that the Chancellor has announced, and then making sure that we've got both the public investment but also a visa system, like I say, that is competitive enough to ensure that we've got the right people too.
Let me step back and ask you about the UK economy more broadly. It's been a lot more resilient than many had expected, both in the economics and analyst community and the Bank of England. But the reality is inflation is still running close to 9%, interest rates 4.5%, and poised to rise even further, especially on the back of the wage data this morning. Is it only a matter of time before the scales tip and we enter a recession? Is that inevitable at this point?
Just last month, the IMF have significantly upgraded our growth prospects. And by the way, the IMF has outlined that around 90% of global economies will face difficulty on growth this year. And this comes on the back of, by the way, the fastest growth in the G7 for the UK last year. So I think we are very optimistic, but not complacent by any means. What we need to do is ensure that fiscal policy and monetary policy is aligned, and that we work very cooperatively with the Bank of England as we look towards the end of this year.
The Treasury have a stated objective of having inflation by the end of the year. Are you confident we're going to get there, even with the wage data like today still being this strong and coming in this strong?
Well, you're right. The Prime Minister has made tackling inflation, halving inflation, one of his top 5 priorities. The IMF have recognised that we're taking significant action, decisive action to do that, and I'm confident that we can achieve that.